So what we're going to do is we're going to draw this cap, the cone that goes on top of the rocket. We're going to draw it in SketchUp. And this is a part of a circle. It's actually in geometry terms, it's called a sector of a circle. We're not going to actually do it as part of a circle. We're going to use as part of a polygon instead, because if you notice the edges, they kind of look like flat lines. So if I consider this is one edge, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it looks like one more of them would make a quarter of the whole polygon. So I'm going to pretend that this is a polygon with 7 times 4, 28 sides. And we're going to start there. We need to know how what the radius of the polygon is. I measured it here and it said 3.4, and I measured it down here and it says 3.8. So they drew it, they didn't draw it right on here. We're going to try to draw it right. I kind of took a number in between these two. Let's do it as 3.5 inches. Okay. So our end goal is going to look something like this. We're going to erase it all. Or actually, I'll just move it and we'll start draw it somewhere else. Okay. So go off somewhere, maybe along one of the axes, and draw a line straight up 3.5 inches. So I'm going to type in 3.5 inches. Okay. So start with a line that's 3.5 inches long. Then, once you have a line that's 3.5 inches long, going up or down, I don't need this anymore. Then I'm going to pick this triangle tool. It looks like a triangle, but it's actually the polygon tool. It's right under the circle. Once you click the polygon tool, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the number of sides. The default, I think, is 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that. You're going to type in 28. So type in 28 and then press enter. And then when you move, it won't look like a triangle anymore. It looks like a circle. It's actually not a circle. It's a 28-agon. That's what they call a polygon of 28 sides. So move this 28-agon so the center of it touches that edge of that line, like this. And then click once. And then move the other edge down to the other end of the line, so it's 3.5 inches down, and click again. So now we have what looks like is a circle, but if you zoom in, you'll see the edges are actually flat. It has 28 sides. So if we go back to our rocket template, we'll notice it has these lines. These lines are kind of like the fold lines. I'm going to draw them in just as solid lines instead of doing the dotted lines, just to make it easier. So I'm going to draw in lines to each of the corners of the polygon like that. Not the whole polygon, because we just want a quarter of it. I'm going to draw in some of these lines like this. Okay. So only to a quarter of the polygon. Now I can use the eraser and erase the rest of it, and we just have this section. And if I look at the original rocket template, I'll notice that top little slice, you can think of it like a pizza slice, that one's missing too. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that one. Okay. So here we have our slice. If we cut this out and curve it around and glue it, it'll actually look like a cone that we can glue on top of the rocket. This will be the top of our rocket. Let's see what else we have to add by looking at the rocket template. Well, I have the little pizza slices. The last thing I need are these little tabs at the end. These tabs help you glue onto the rocket. So we're going to draw these tabs in. So I measured them beforehand, and they go out about 0.6 inches out of your rocket. So I'm going to go back here, and an easy way to make these tabs is using the offset tool. So I'll remind you where the offset tool is. It's on the top toolbar and on the side toolbar. It's right next to the rotate, and if you leave your mouse over it, it says offset. Before you click on the offset though, let's click on the sides we want to offset. So if I look at the rocket template, it looks like it has 3 little tabs, so I only need to offset the first 3 sides of the polygon. 1, 2, 3. I'm adding, by holding down Control, I can add more. If I added one too many, Shift lets you take off or add selection. So select the first 3 using Control or Shift, click, and that highlights those 3 in blue. And then we're going to click on the offset tool, click once on this corner, and then type in 0.6 inches. So we've offset all these 0.6. Now we can draw our tabs. I'm going to start by drawing these little lines right here, like that. And then I'm going to draw from the midpoint to the midpoint. Like that. Midpoint to midpoint, midpoint to midpoint. There. Okay. And the reason is, if we go back to our rocket template, you'll notice these tabs don't take up the whole, they're just kind of like half tabs. So I want to cut away the rest of them. So I'm going to go back and use my eraser and cut away the rest. Okay. And here I have my tabs. If we notice on the template, there's these little round circles on 2 of the pizza slices. You don't have to draw these round circles. They just want to show you that these 2 slices actually are, you're going to glue the rest of it on top of these. These are going to overlap underneath the other ones. So I want to show that these 2 are the overlapped slices somehow. So another way to do it is to just shade it a different color. So I'm going to click my paint bucket and just pick a different color to shade those 2 of the slices. And there we have our cone, and you can always measure it to make sure everything is right. It should be 3.5 inches long, like that, and each slice should be 13/16 if you did it correctly, and each one of these should be about 5/8 inch that way and about 7/16 inch that way. And there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because remember we erased that one at the top there. I'm going to leave this up so you guys can see.